everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Saturday, August the 10th. Let's load up the field for race number 10 at Saratoga. Now, this is the DRF race of the day for Saturday, the Grade 1 Fourstardave at Saratoga. But if the remnants of this hurricane show up at the Spa, Saratoga at least has a contingency plan, in this race, Saturday's race of the day, is carded as race number 11 on Sunday, if they're off the turf.
They love taking races off the turf at Saratoga. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be off the turf on Saturday. Then if they are, we'll see this race on Sunday, hopefully.
Lost a big name in here in the 2, Master of the Seas, who would have gone favorite. He's already scratched the number 2 due to a foot bruise. Hopefully we'll see him a little bit later in the summer and into the fall. That leaves us with a field of 6. Ottoman Fleet, also trained by Charlie Appleby, along with Master of the Seas. All this horse does is show up in his races in North America, at the very least. Buyers of 99 or better in all 5 starts in the States.
Yeah, exactly. 5 starts in North America, 4 triple-digit buyers. He comes into this off of back-to-back graded stakes wins, Dan, and he's got really good tactical speed, which is just going to give Flavien Prat options in this race.
The early speed comes from the rail, however, throwing up our Time Form US pace projector. That's Strong Quality, who's going to drop in distance after racing in the Manhattan last time out. And that race was probably a little bit too tough for him, and maybe a mile and 3/16 against that quality of horse is too much.
Yeah, we'll see about cutting back to a mile here. How much it helps him, Dan. Certainly a loose lead like the pace projector has slated for him. That's going to help his chances in here. It's a real question of whether he's good enough to beat a field like this.
The horse with the fastest Time Form US late pace rating is the 7, More Than Looks, who expects to be gathered up near the back of the pack in the early going. This horse has a very strong kick, but he is making his first start off of a lengthy layoff. Let's start things off talking about Strong Quality. He's always been a solid horse for Mark Casse. He actually won on dirt, going a 1-turn mile 2 starts back. Very versatile from a surface standpoint, but I think his best game is to go to the front, and I think he'll make it here. The question is he good enough?
It's a real question, and I don't even know that being loose on the lead in this race is enough of an advantage for him, assuming the major players in here show up with their good race. And this horse, he is pretty good though, and he is going to be loose on the lead in this race. So we'll see how far he can take them at a price.
And he has run very well over wet going in the past, and that might help certainly with the expected rainfall. Major Dude is up next. Let's watch his most recent start. Allowance up at Saratoga. This race going 1 1/8. He got a dream run down towards the inside. The rail opens up. He moves on through. He wins comfortably, got the right setup, got the right race flow as the favorite. Now he's stepping back up in class. He has run well in graded stakes competition in the past.
Yeah, he did get a great trip in this race, but he also ran, really well, and he's a convincing winner when all is said and done. I thought he took a step forward off of the return from the layoff, Dan. You're right. Does his top race so far, does it make him a major contender in here? It probably doesn't, but this horse is a little bit underrated, and he's very tactical.
Carl Spackler showed a lot of talent last year at Saratoga, winning the Hall of Fame, winning the Saranac, and I was really looking forward to seeing what he was going to do this year, and he really hasn't disappointed. I guess the poker maybe was a bit of a race where Carl Spackler was below par, but his most recent start was in the Kelso, and yes, it's a 4-horse field, and he got a really great trip and ride stalking a moderate pace. I know Carl Spackler only wins by a half length, but to me, this was just a hard hand ride. I think the margin of victory is deceiving.
I agree with you, and this is one of those situations where, he was he was placed perfectly throughout the running here. They were sprinting home in this race. This pace was super slow. The horse on the inside, Talk of the Nation, who's not a bad horse. The horse had a pretty big advantage in there, controlling slow fractions, and they were sprinting through the stretch. Carl Spackler closed them down. I don't know what happened to back in the poker. He was really disappointed in there. His other 2 starts this year, they're both good.
Money Supply is the number 5. He's a graded stakes winner on dirt, but maybe he's found a home on the lawn. Here's his turf debut, a stakes race at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. It's a wet track to boot, and he comes with a good run, Mike. I mean, things are going to open up for him here. He finds a nice split in mid-stretch, but Money Supply really fired. He obviously likes the turf, and he's the kind of horse that just needs to prove himself at this level.
It's a pretty big ask here. Maybe it's a real sign of confidence, though, that they're going to step him right up into a grade 1 off the win in the turf debut. This is a very sharp owner who now has this horse, and I don't think he's just going to throw his horse in here just to see what happens. Maybe he is. I liked his turf debut quite a bit. It didn't necessarily make me want to bet him back in this race.
You mentioned Ottoman Fleet's tactical speed, and it really is a great asset. He sat just off it at Churchill 2 starts back when winning the Grade 3 Arlington, and then he just took the bull by the horns in the Wise Dan last time out, and why not? He was odds on, he controlled the pace, he sprinted on home, and he could very well be the horse to beat in here. He figures right there when they turn into the stretch. Is a mile too short for him?
No, I actually kind of like him going a little bit shorter. He's one going longer distances too, so who knows what his preferred distance is, but I actually like them going shorter distances with him. We'll see what he does here, Dan. I mean, I have no knocks on this horse. I'm actually a fan of his. I think he's good. I would just point out that he had a perfect trip when he won 2 starts back, and he had a perfect trip when he won last time, and maybe he won't get a perfect trip this time. He's going to be a short price.
You and I are huge fans of the 7 More Than Looks, and we've been looking forward to this belated seasonal debut. We haven't seen him since the Breeders' Cup Mile, where he had a lousy outside post position. They just took him back to last, and he was running on at the end like he always does. They wanted to run him in the restricted lure earlier this meet. That, of course, got washed off. So here they are in the 4-Star Dave. Is he fit enough to win? We'll see. Is he good enough to win? I think he is.
Oh, he's definitely good enough to win. I mean, if he is ready off the layoff here and doesn't need a start, he's just going to be a handful in here. We'll see if the race sets up to his liking because he does want to sit back and make one run. And it doesn't seem like there's a ton of pace in this race, but he's clearly good enough to win. Obviously, this being plan B for him, maybe it's not a great sign. The one thing that I liked about him, though, just from a strict wagering standpoint, Dan, is that he's good enough to win here. If they ran him in the lure last week, if that stayed on turf, he would have been sub even money in there, and I wouldn't have wanted to bet him. This race, he's maybe third choice in here, and that makes me kind of want to bet it.
Curious to see how he'll handle the ground, and you're curious to see how they'll all handle the ground. Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Let's take a look at our top picks for the 4-Star Dave. We're in agreement with the exacta, just in different orders. I want to use More Than Looks in any kind of multi because I know if he comes back with his best,
Right.
he's going to run big. I'm a little concerned about the ground with him off of the layoff. Carl Spackler has won twice over wet going. I'm not sure if he could run on deep going, but I'm willing to give him that mulligan for the race 2 starts back. I think the real Carl showed up last time.
Yeah, I agree with that. As far as More Than Looks goes, I agree with what you said, though, Dan. I mean, who knows if you're going to get his A race here, but if you get it, he can beat this field. And as the third choice, I just kind of want to bet him. Among the two favorites, I kind of prefer Carl Spackler to Ottoman Fleet.
Mike's going 7-4-6-5, far from a 2-foot putt for Carl Spackler, but I'll go with him 4-7-6-5. It's the grade 1 4-Star Dave. It's the Saturday race of the day, or it's Sunday's race 11 at the Spa. Good luck.